It's last-minute shopping time around the world, but there's no doubt what markets want for Christmas. A deal on the fiscal cliff would be just a thing, and any time before December 31st, please. I'm Jamie McGeever, and this is Reuters Today. Well, let's get out now to Manoj Ladwa. He's senior trader at TJ Markets, joining us from the LSE. Manoj, as Jon Stewart on The Daily Show in the US puts it, we're approaching the cliff-pocalypse Mageddon cost.
Yeah.
Is it that serious?
Well, it is fairly serious because you would have thought that it would have been resolved last week. It hasn't. It's run into Christmas. Now, US politicians have only got the couple of days between Christmas and the New Year's to get this resolved. And it's highly unlikely that they will. So come January the 1st, first week of January, when the markets start trading again, it's likely that equity markets could, if the situation isn't resolved, equity markets could start pricing in the negative aspects of this whole episode, and that is the US economy potentially going into recession at some point in the first or second quarter.
OK, well, here in Europe, outgoing Italian Prime Minister Mario Monti says he'll consider standing again as PM, but curiously, without actually running for election. How does that work?
Well, it's a difficult position. I mean, Mario Monti's in, and the Italian economy as a whole at the moment. But yeah, well, we have to wait and see how the situation plays out. Obviously, he's got Silvio Berlusconi in the background as well, hot on his heels, looking to come back into the picture. And yeah, until the situation is resolved, the Spanish, or rather, the Italian economy remains on something of a knife edge.
And broadening it out, and there was a report in a Spanish newspaper over the weekend saying that the European Commission will give Spain, France and many other countries more time to meet their deficit targets. Is this backsliding, or is this actually a good thing?
Well, I don't think it's a good thing. It's again putting a sticking plaster on the situation. It's allowing a lot more leeway. But you know, at the end of the day, a country like Spain, for instance, has exceedingly high levels of unemployment. It has, up until recently, very high levels of 10-year bond yields. That seems to come back down again. But the economic situation in a country like Spain and France, to a certain extent, is not great at the moment. And the longer you delay things, the further you push the problem out. And at some point, that problem does have to be addressed.
OK, Manoj, thanks very much and happy Christmas. Japan's new Prime Minister Shinzo Abe is calling for a weaker yen. Reuters' Tara Joseph joins me now from Hong Kong. Tara, Shinzo Abe has only been elected a few days, but already he's making waves.
Elected only a few days, he takes up office on Wednesday, and he is not letting go at all of his push to get the Bank of Japan to raise its inflation target to 2%. Speaking on TV over the weekend, he basically said he would revise a law allowing the BOJ to maintain its independence if he didn't see some strong moves from the BOJ to revise the inflation target. He's also looking at people he may put in charge at the BOJ if he doesn't see the Bank of Japan moving towards this higher inflation target. And he's also talking about how important a weaker yen is for the competitiveness of the economy, saying the difference between 90 yen to a dollar and 80 yen to a dollar makes a major difference. So he's not letting go at all.
Well, so he's actually given a range.
Well, he did mention that range, and you can see that the yen was weakening on that today as well.
OK, and in China, looks like Beijing is opening its doors to IPOs. Is that right?
Well, there are many companies, 800 to be precise, that are waiting to list in Shanghai. It's one of the big drags on the market. The securities regulators in China over the weekend said they were going to loosen rules to allow for Chinese companies to list overseas more easily in a way to kind of clear the backlog. Right now, we have a huge interest of companies to flow into Chinese stocks. It's sort of one of the big end-of-year stories. A lot of them are putting money into Hong Kong, and this may be a way to allow that type of investment to happen. However, let's think of some of the problems with this, which is the fact that there are regulators out there worried about the auditing of Chinese companies. So that might cause some problems, but a move by the securities regulators which could help the Chinese markets.
OK, Tara, thanks very much and happy holidays to you over there in Hong Kong.
You too, Jamie.
Thank you. The top world news story on Reuters this morning. Indian Prime Minister Manmohan Singh is appealing for calm following a weekend of protests over the government's response to the gang rape of a young woman. There's growing anger among protesters over what they see as a slow and ineffectual response by the government. That's after the 23-year-old woman was raped and thrown from a moving bus in New Delhi last week. She remains in hospital in critical condition. Well, that's it for now. I'll leave you, though, with a look at the Queen's new line in festive eyewear. The monarch donning a pair of custom-made specs to watch a recording of her Christmas message. The message is shown each year on Christmas Day, and this year was shot in 3D for the first time. I'm Jamie McGeever. This is Reuters.